Hey everyone, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Today is Monday, June 10th, bringing you the fishing forecast for this week. Hopefully everybody had a good week last week, had a chance to get out fishing. As we look ahead towards this upcoming week, we've got temperatures rising. So last week we had a nice cool down. That was nice. We got in some, water temps drop in, and trout fishing was great. It really, fishing across the board was good. And now looking ahead at this week, we've got the first part of the week, like today and tomorrow, starting off, a little bit cooler. But by the end of the week, we're going to be getting up towards that summertime heat. So up into the 90s, and the 10 days showing some days at the early part of the following week staying in the 90s. So we're definitely going to have some of those water temps coming back up. Our streams are getting a little bit low and very clear. So we'll talk about fishing during that and what we can expect. Let's start off with the brook trout streams as I usually do. So your brook trout streams are still flowing plenty to have good fishing. Water is starting to get low and it is getting clear. And I was out the latter half of last week, and what we found was there was plenty of fish. The fish that were in the long, slow pools were pretty darn spooky. So approaching very slowly, and fishing some of your smaller stuff, especially back in towards the tail outs of pools, was very important to not spook the fish. But at the same time, we caught twice as many fish in your riffle water and your more pace current water, where you've got some of the surface tension broken to help hide you from the fish. We were doing much better in there, finding a lot more numbers of fish throughout that water. As far as flies go, brook trout are still eating attractor patterns very well. I think we tied on a royal wolf and fished that all day without really needing to change. Fished an attractor nymph below it, caught a few on that, but dry fly fishing was pretty good. We do have little yellow stones coming off. We still had some big giant eastern stones, and you'll see the occasional mayfly here and there still. But, fishing all your attractor patterns up in the mountains is going to be good right now, and continue to fish well up until we get either too warm or too low. But right now it's still good, and so take advantage of it while we can. We'll hope to keep getting rain as we move later into the year, but you can't always count on it. So brook trout fishing is still something you can get out and do right now. Water temps are plenty cold, and just focus on your more moving water to have better fishing, as the fish that are in those slower pockets are going to be a little bit more difficult to catch. Now moving down, looking at some of our spring creeks, fishing's been good, but same deal, water's low and clear. The morning out on like Mossy Creek and Beaver Creek, we've had tremendous trico hatches. The other day, walking the stream banks, looking at some spider webs, just absolutely chock full of tricos. So you can get out there in the morning and fish those, fish that hatch, and then as the day goes on, those tricos should hopefully get fish looking up. And then with the clear water, you can kind of induce some rises out of fish, throw in attractor dry flies like a PMX. A big PMX is a great pattern to sort of imitate all sorts of stuff. It's just a big buggy fly. Floats very well though, so you can put a nymph underneath of it. Catching a lot of fish on smaller nymphs, like size 16 range, with this water being low and clear. I've done well on your red tag jigs lately, soft tackle pheasant tails, jigged hare's ear, especially on sunny days. Those seem to do well for me. But lots of different patterns out there you can do well on. And then, again, like I said the other week, as we warm up here, we move further and further out of our mayfly season. We're going to be transitioning, getting into our beetles and our hoppers a little bit later in the summer. But beetles are right around the corner. We've got tons of ants out on the water right now, and we're catching fish on all of those things. So again, just to kind of summarize that, be on the lookout for tricos early morning. As the day goes on, dry droppers, and you can always, throw a streamer on and sort of dredge the bottom if you need to. Something like a near enough sculpin, fished in a smaller size, fish slow and on the bottom, can be a really effective way to catch fish if they're being a little bit tougher or a little bit pickier and not wanting to move around as much for a nymph or come up to the surface for a dry fly out there. A lot of that's going to be true at Beaver Creek as well, pretty much staying on the same game plan over there that we're seeing on Mossy Creek. And then outside of those spring creeks, a lot of our stocked water, we're starting to watch that for temperatures to get a little bit warm and for, those fish to kind of be done for the season. our delayed harvest and everything are pretty much off the table for our trout fishing opportunities. But you know, if you've got one that's nearby you and stays a little colder, you could maybe get out and try it once or twice. But I would start focusing really heavily on your stuff that your catch and release streams or your wild trout streams. Not going to see a whole lot going on in your put and take or your delayed harvest now that the state is done with their stocking and those are open to harvest at this point in time. Now, smallmouth fishing's getting to where we're getting into our summertime pattern pretty well. The river right now is low and clear, and the fishing has been very good. When we get low and clear like this, it can make for great topwater fishing. We were out last week and fishing a lot of moving topwater baits, so things like a wiggle minnow, your deer hair frogs, you know, something like the con man or your swinging D's, these baits that are up on the surface, but you can fish them and actually move them, make them look like, you know, a minnow or something like that, have been a lot more effective than something like a popping bug. Yeah, you could catch a few on that, but, you know, the fish aren't seeing a ton of cicadas around here right now. So, you know, we don't have those bugs that are sort of landing on the water and just drifting along. We've got frogs and, you know, things like that that are moving much more on the surface. And so that's a little bit better of a way to go this time of year. And then if you can't get them to eat topwater, they'll be eating streamers, you know, in the mid-water column very well. Crayfish, if you're really needing to get down, you know, fishing off of a deep ledge. The Chuckcraft Clawdad and the Ginger was a great fly for us last week, catching tons of fish on that. Getting it down towards the bottom in those deeper ledges was definitely important. As the water warms up, anyone who's musky fishing is going to want to keep an eye on that. We're getting close to that temperature where it gets pretty stressful on those fish if you catch them. We're not quite there yet, but you know, with temperatures looking like they're going to get into the 90s towards the end of the week and stay warm, that's probably where we're going to start seeing those temperatures get up into that iffy level. So keep an eye out for that. You know, if you're seeing water temperatures 73, 74, 75 degrees, that's where you may want to consider laying off the musky and, you know, switching over and doing bass fishing unless we get another cold front pushing through and see those temperatures drop back down. Outside of that, not much more to report on, so get out and fish while you've got a chance to, and enjoy this week. We'll hope for some rain by the next time we talk to you so that we can update you on a little bit higher water levels maybe. But get out while you can and enjoy it, and we'll talk to you all next week. Thanks.